Deeper is where the prize is going to be in both Kalayi and Mont Agoma. And in Mont Agoma, as I say, we've got the eastern zone, which we've only got one intercept really at surface in the weathered zone. So we're going to chase that to the southeast.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Paul Barrett, the CEO of Rome Resources. Paul, very good to speak with you. This maiden resource marks a major milestone for Rome Resources. What does it tell investors about the scale and potential of Bisie North?
Hi, Stephen. Yes, thanks. It is quite important. It's important because it proves the tin copper mineralisation system. It puts basically a benchmark on what we've seen so far. We have only drilled the top 250 meters of section, and we've really only drilled about a 600-meter strike on both Kalayi and Mont Agoma. But what it's doing is showing us that the model, in terms of its similarity to Alphamin next door, is actually quite strong, insofar as we've got relatively narrow intercepts of tin at surface or near surface in Mont Agoma, which is very, very similar to what's seen in Alphamin in terms of the first couple of 100 meters. And then after that, as you get closer to the granite, closer to the source of the mineralization fluids, then those intercepts widen and they become higher grade. So this is what we're going to plan to do next. So we've identified the system, and we're going to drill deeper in Mont Agoma main zone. We're going to drill the eastern zone, which we've talked about before, and also deeper in Kalayi. So there's quite a lot of exploration upside, should we say.
You've highlighted that only a fraction of the license area has been drilled so far, Paul. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for resource growth next?
Well, there's still certain elements of the field geochemistry, so the soil geochemistry, which there are extensions of those anomalies that we haven't drilled yet. So those are prime areas, but really it's going deeper. Deeper is where the prize is going to be in both Kalayi and Mont Agoma. And in Mont Agoma, as I say, we've got the eastern zone, which we've only got one intercept really at surface in the weathered zone. So we're going to chase that to the southeast, closer to the granite, closer to the source of mineralization, closer to Alphamin. So it's pretty much, we believe that's a low risk approach to really adding some big numbers.
How significant is the similarity to Alphamin's Bisie mine? How significant is that comparison for your future drilling plans?
Well, it's definitely a very close analog. You know, the trendology is very clear. You know, we're wrapping around the granite. We're along geological strike. We've got the same tin mineralization system. And we appear to have, although we're at Mont Agoma, we're slightly shallower geologically in the system. We're still in the copper near the surface, which Alphamin don't have. They're deeper in the system. So we've got to drill deeper in the system to chase that, to get out of the copper and into the higher grade tin zone. So it's a clear analog, and I think that will drive what is hopefully a very successful next phase of drilling.
You've mentioned engaging with potential strategic partners and looking at nearby acquisitions. What could these mean for shareholders as the project moves into its next phase?
Well, if you take we're back to Alphamin again, but if you take Mpama South, where they drilled about 35,000 meters of drill holes before they ended up with that significant resource, but that's 5 times more drilling than we've had so far to date. So you can see that there is a lot of work to be done to actually get to the end point, and whether that's through bringing in a strategic investor who's already involved in the tin in the area, or whether it's somebody who's already involved in the DRC, copper or other minerals, then we are having those discussions at the moment. And that would be beneficial to shareholders, because if we brought in a strategic investor at the project level, then that would avoid any unnecessary dilution for shareholders going forward. So we're always trying to look after the shareholder value. Clearly, we've tried to do that by putting as much of that money into the ground as possible, and we'll continue to do that. So, try and build the project.
Well, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Will do. Thanks, Stephen.
Paul Barrett, the CEO of Rome Resources.